Well, we continue with you this month of Ramadan, and today being the penultimate PSA segment, Voices from Palestine. And I must admit, it's been quite an interesting segment that we've had throughout the entire month of Ramadan. And sadly, as this month of Ramadan is coming to an end, so will this segment. But we will continue amplifying our voices for the people of Palestine, even out of the month of Ramadan, as we have been doing throughout our inception. And this is one of the reasons as to why at Salam Media we have embraced humanitarian journalism, and right at the top of this philosophy of humanitarian journalism has been about Palestine. It's been about the freedom and the liberation of Palestine. And we have started since inception. We have continued throughout the last 18 months of this brutal genocide that's been unfolding. And Israel Apartheid Week is something that year after year since inception, we've always been talking about Israel Apartheid Week, talking about its history, about its global significance. And year after year, we must constantly remind ourselves, and this is what we are doing on our interview this afternoon on Voices from Palestine, together with the Palestine Solidarity Alliance. And we're talking with BNC campaign coordinator based in the West Bank. We're talking with Sister Tala Iyad. Sister Tala, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome. Jazakallah khairan so much for your time.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much.
Yes, an absolute pleasure, obviously, coming to you. We're talking about Israel Apartheid Week, and coming through to you at a very, very difficult time, because I am looking at the visuals and the pictures that are flashing on the screen as well. We've seen so much protest. We've seen the Palestinian flag. We've seen the colors of Palestine. We've seen calls and banners standing up for Palestine. And once again, with Israel Apartheid Week, again sending us a very, very strong reminder as to the importance of this week, and how what this has actually meant, how important it has been throughout its existence. So let's just revisit for a few minutes, Sister Tala, on the history and the significance of Israel Apartheid Week.
Yes, sure. So just as you mentioned before, that Israeli Apartheid Week this year comes in a very difficult moment for our people in Palestine during to the ongoing genocide in Gaza that is going on, and more than 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza. So of course, this makes it decrease, or sorry, this makes it increases the importance of it. Now, going back to the Israeli Apartheid Week, what is it and what's it? It's important. Its history. Israeli Apartheid Week is one of the tools of the BDS movement that aims to raise awareness about the reasons why Israel is an apartheid state. And apartheid, by its nature, is one of the mechanisms of the settler colonial system. Israeli Apartheid Week actually began in 2004 and has since expanded, spreading to almost every part of the world. So now we have activities and ongoing activities in many countries in the world. And we have to mention that at that time, I mean, 2004, 2005, there was still significant resistance to labeling Israel as an apartheid state. So the main objective at the launch of the week back then were all about raising awareness about apartheid, educating, shifting or changing the discourse. So over the years, the week has successfully achieved its goals. We have seen that. Alongside the broader efforts of the BDS movement, civil society organizations, Palestinian organizations, and national entities, it has helped create widespread awareness of Israel's apartheid system. And this became evident, for example, in Amnesty report that was published in 2022, which clearly stated that Israel is an apartheid state. Also, activities during the week aim to highlight the historical and ongoing connection between Palestine and South Africa in their shared struggle against apartheid and colonialism. Looking at the results now and successes in raising awareness about apartheid, we now see that many countries and international bodies openly recognize Israel as an apartheid state, including South Africa, for example, including Namibia, including the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, منظمة التعاون الإسلامي, and the African Union, among others. So it's important now, and we can see that this is actually a success that came after launching the Israeli Apartheid Week, and of course with the efforts that the BDS movement have been doing, and of course as well as the Palestinian organizations and civil society organizations. And also one more important thing that also talks about the success of the Israeli Apartheid Week is that um, it's important to note that the International Court of Justice (ICJ), in its 2024 advisory opinion, found that Israel imposes an apartheid regime on Palestinians.
Yes. Now, also, I think what's important to understand is when we look at Israel Apartheid Week, every year there is a specific theme as far as Israel Apartheid Week goes. And I'm just looking at this year's theme is talking about rising, it's talking about resisting, it's talking about decolonizing, and also it's about talking about people power. Because as we pointed out earlier as well, looking at this intensified genocide in Gaza, we see how it had escalated once again. We saw the renewed bombing, the mass starvation that is taking place, the forced displacement that is taking place right across Palestine in both Gaza and in the occupied West Bank as well. And looking at this year's theme once again, it's about people, it's about people power that obviously is making history. And again, this year calling for mass mobilization and also for the escalation of peaceful direct actions so that these mass mobilizations and these pressure campaigns can actually create a lot more awareness, but also put pressure, where pressure is required.
Yes, thank you. Let me start by saying that we have a key lesson or a key lesson we have learned from South Africa's experience is that without building a strong grassroots movement and collective popular action, real change cannot be achieved. So that's why this year the theme is focusing mainly on building people's power, on building people's or mobilizing people's power. So today, after this widespread recognition and the ICJ ruling, just as I have mentioned before, we seek to build and mobilize people's power to make apartheid a thing of the past, or let's say to make apartheid history. So, also to dismantle apartheid in Palestine and liberate our minds by imagining Palestine free. And this brings us to the theme also of the Israeli Apartheid Week this year about imagining a free Palestine. So we are encouraging people to use thought and imaginary thoughts or imagination, sorry, as liberatory tool that inspires us to take action and resist colonialism. And just as we mentioned before that this year the apartheid week marks a pivotal moment in the struggle of Palestinian liberation and global decolonizations. It comes in the time of the genocide, the ongoing genocide in Gaza, and also, the Israeli Apartheid Week 2025 coincides with the 20th anniversary of the BDS movement. So, we are talking about 20 years of BDS, two decades of steadfast popular resistance, intersectional solidarity, and fighting state, corporate, and institutional complicity in Israel's settler colonial apartheid regime. Um, And just to mention that Israeli Apartheid Week was launched on the International Day of Elimination of Racial Discrimination on March 21st, and it will include Palestinian Land Day on March 30, going into April. It will continue in April of 2025. And as you have just mentioned, and I repeated, this year's theme will be mainly focusing on people power makes apartheid history.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
This is an opportunity to regain credibility and support. So I do encourage member states to stay calm, not to panic, to get together, to talk, to rediscover ways to stick to each other, united. President Trump has been talking about withdrawing from the world. Well, do that. Do that without throwing everything down with it or throwing everything with you. Without destroying the entire system. That's fine, but gives the possibility of many of us to test our solidarity. Now.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
More than 800 million people around the world live in deep poverty, uncertain of where the next meal will come from. For those on the brink of starvation, a food pack means survival, dignity, and hope. Send food. Send kindness. Be the reason a family does not go hungry. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, bakkies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this.
Well, we continue with my guest, Tala, Iyad, and before we went for the air break, Tala was talking about Israel Apartheid Week, and normally we know it's observed until the end of March, but going into April 2025 under the theme "People Power Makes Apartheid History." And again, we should not only be talking about going into April 2025. I believe that every week should be Israel Apartheid Week, because there's just so much that we can do in terms of pressure campaigns, in terms of mass mobilization, in terms of shutting down institutions that are complicit with Israel's genocide, talking about apartheid-free zones. This is what we need to demand in our spaces as well. We need to be continuous and relentless in our pressure to governments to sanction Israel. We need to mass mobilize ourselves, not only around occasions like Israel Apartheid Week, but it should go beyond as well. We've seen all of the mass mobilization taking place. But again, when we suffer from fatigue, we stop for a while, but let us continue. We know the month of Ramadan is coming to an end, but after Ramadan, we need to amplify our voices, because the Zionist occupying entity is not stopping. It is relentless in its mission of genocide and ethnic cleansing of the people of Palestine. Sister Tella, just to continue, and I think one of the themes behind Israel Apartheid Week, and this is something that I just want to, obviously focus on, because the freedom of Palestine means the freedom of the world. And this theme about decolonizing Palestine is actually decolonizing the entire world. And this obviously is a struggle that is deeply interconnected with the struggle of an entire world.
Yes, exactly. As we have mentioned, that the theme also talks about how that decolonizing Palestine is actually decolonizing the world. The struggle against Israel apartheid is deeply interconnected with the broader struggles for justice, freedom, equality, and dignity worldwide. Actually, Israel's genocide against 2.3 million Palestinians in the occupied and besieged Gaza Strip has revealed to the world the brutality of settler colonialism, militarized capitalism, and Western complicity in systematic oppression. From Rabat to Cairo, Jakarta to London, and Cape Town to Bogota, global solidarity movements have recognized that the fight to free Palestine is also a fight to free themselves from all forms of colonial domination, racism, and imperial violence. So, as Palestinians, we remain resolute in our struggle, and we take strength from the millions worldwide we have risen up, organized mass demos, disrupted arms shipments, occupied universities and institutions complicit in genocide, forcing many to end ties with Israel or Israel's regime, and built apartheid-free zones, or we call it AFZs, across the globe. The Palestinian struggle, rooted in over a century of resisting settler colonial oppression, continues to inspire movements against racial, indigenous, climate, gender, and economic injustice. And this is exactly when we are talking about intersectionality in struggle.
Yes, and also, Tala, I think what's important to understand is, and you made a point of this earlier on, in terms of reimagining Palestine after apartheid and what a post-apartheid Palestine would actually look like. And once again, we take a lot of heart, we take a lot of lessons, we take a lot of inspiration from the resilience of the people of Palestine. And we see this constant revival of this global struggle for justice. And this, again, when we talk about reimagining a liberated Palestine, again, this solidifies our solidarity and our support worldwide just to work towards that free and liberated Palestine that we also dearly want to see and cherish in our lifetime.
Yes, and just like I mentioned, that imagining a free Palestine and using this imagination actually helps us, or we can use it as a liberatory tool that inspires us to take action against racism, against colonialism, against settler colonialism, against apartheid. So, reimagining life beyond oppression is itself a revolutionary act. It allows us to sustain hope, renew our determination, and chart a future of justice and liberation. Israeli Apartheid Week 2025 will amplify Palestinian artistic and creative visions of a post apartheid Palestine without apartheid, without the settler colonial regime, drawing connections between our struggle and all movements resisting oppression. Now, if Palestine, resilience and revival have inspired global struggles for justice, our reimagination of liberated Palestine will further expand even the intersections of solidarity worldwide. So, this Israeli Apartheid Week, we take collective actions towards dismantling Israel's apartheid regime and nurture the hope that any structure of oppression can be defeated just by building people's power, mobilizing people's power. And let me finish with this, that together we are bringing the dawn of Palestinian liberation closer than ever. Resist, rise, decolonize. Palestine frees us all.
Certainly, and also I think just finally, I just want a quick comment from you, Tala, on the leadership of the BNC and also in building the BDS campaign, so that this genocidal entity called Israel obviously is isolated, and again, just more intensification as far as global mobilization goes.
Yes, and also for the audience and people who are listening now, maybe they might be interested in knowing more about the BNC or who is leading the BDS movement. As you just mentioned, it's the Palestinian BDS National Committee, the BNC, and it's the broadest Palestinian civil society coalition that works to lead and support the BDS movement for Palestinian rights. And just we have mentioned earlier that. The BDS with the BNC, the leadership of the BDS actually uses the Israeli Apartheid Week as a tool or one of its tools to dismantle apartheid and raise awareness more about apartheid worldwide and label Israel as an apartheid state.
Well, we will continue labeling them as an apartheid state, and we will continue obviously using occasions like Israel Apartheid Week and any other opportunity that we have to continue in our quest, our struggle to help wherever we can to assist to become a voice for the voices of the people of Palestine, for their liberation, for their freedom as well. And as we head towards the end of the month of Ramadan, we wish you well, Sister Tala, and we do appreciate you taking time out. I know it's a few days left for the month of Ramadan, but we will continue in our prayers, we will continue in our du'as for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. But more importantly, we will continue in whatever way we can in in helping them in their struggle, and their struggle is our struggle. We are all in it together. With that, once again, I appreciate your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Tala Iyad joining us this afternoon, and Voices from Palestine segment, a courtesy of Palestine Solidarity Alliance. I must say it's been an interesting partnership that we've developed during this month of Ramadan. This was the penultimate one, and hopefully tomorrow will be the last one as we head towards the end of this month of Ramadan. But just to remind ourselves that next up is going to be the spirituality, taking you through to the time of iftar at around 6:15. This afternoon in Johannesburg will be none other than Maulana Yunus Kawanga, and being a Thursday night, Yes, another auspicious night, the night of Jum'ah. It's a 27th night. It is in the month of Ramadan. There's just so much about this night that we need to sit down, we need to think, but more importantly, we need to maximize and benefit from. And let us raise our hands, let us make dua for ourselves, for our families, for the ummah, and particularly our brothers and sisters right across the entire world who are suffering untold horrors through genocides and in many other ways. And with that, I'm going to be leaving you. Next up is going to be the Asr Azan. Immediately after that, Maulana Yunus Kawanga will take over. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.